All right, cool. We're recording. Um,
Awesome.
so hey Serena, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Enjoying this nice weather today.
Mhm.
So I basically wanted to get you here to talk about what's new with you. You're doing a lot of awesome things in terms of like mental health advocacy and just in your personal life too. And we can also share a little bit about like what's new at Turning Point CT. So uh,
Awesome.
yeah, why don't you start by kind of going over like what you've been doing in the past few months after you finished your internship with us?
Yeah. So at that point after the internship, I think for me, life got a lot crazier. In the spring, I'm now finishing up my degree in psychology at the University of New Haven.
Mhm.
And I happened to get a great opportunity to work at West Bristol School. And I'm a social, emotional, behavioral intern there. So I've been able to do that during the day, kind of do classes at night. And I work mainly with kindergartners and first graders, kind of being that extra person there to support them,
Mhm.
help handle a lot of behavioral issues, and just be there to facilitate social skills groups. Because this year, I can definitely see an impact just from the few months I've been working there that mental health is definitely something we need to focus more on, especially with those younger students who are facing a lot of isolation at home and are now trying to come back and adjust to everything after being online.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I think it goes along really well with my career plans. I was accepted into UConn Hartford for my MSW,
So
so I'll be doing that in the fall. And besides that, I've also been trying to do a lot of work with NAMI, as you mentioned. Um, and also, I'm still involved with the Miss American Co-ed pageant.
mhm.
So I have my title holder page, Miss Southern New England Serena C, on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. And then some of the work with NAMI I can talk about.
Yeah.
So I was able to actually reach out to NAMI Waterbury back in the fall and thankfully was able to go to one of their in-person monthly meetings,
Mhm.
which was super cool because prior to that I kind of was just fundraising for them,
Mhm.
and didn't really have faces to put to any of the names of the organizations.
Mhm.
So I was able to hear about their passion and how they've had connections to mental illness in different parts of their lives.
Yeah.
And from there, I continued to fundraise. I actually put together a talent show that was all virtual, um, at the end of the winter. So I had girls pay to enter, and they came on and did singing or dancing, any talents they have.
Mhm.
And I was able to put together a decent amount of money for NAMI from that.
Mhm.
So I was excited to kind of get that out into the community a little bit more.
Mhm.
And then kind of going along with the theme of mental health, with my title, I've been putting together these sisterhood nights with my pageant sisters,
Mhm.
kind of talking about mental health and focusing especially on high school aged and middle school aged girls and different issues they might be facing, since that definitely hits home for me, my experiences.
Yeah.
And then my most recent thing I'm now working on is fundraising for NAMI Walks. Connecticut on May 22nd will be holding that event where everybody, no matter where you are, you can have your own fundraising team and walk in support of NAMI. So I also have that fundraising link up on my pages as well. So that's kind of what's been going on and everything that's new.
Yeah, you have a lot going on. That's
Yeah.
impressive. And you're doing so much awesome work for, your community, like both in your pageantry and also in your career. And yeah, I'm astounded. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I'm interested about like
Mhm.
the NAMI meetings because I've never been to
Yeah.
one. What was it like to actually be there?
So Joey Diaverso was the chapter president of the Waterbury one. He actually gave me a call after I Facebook messaged him, just kind of introducing myself. And he was super welcoming and friendly, saying, "Of course, yeah, come stop by."
Yeah.
And the environment when I showed up was very like family oriented.
Mhm.
Everybody was very supportive when I kind of talked about what I've been up to, and they just went over like their own personal lives, ways they think they can help make an impact in the organization, and then started talking about different events they'd normally have through the year. I
Right.
think things were kind of put on hold because of the pandemic, but if you check out their Facebook page, I believe they do have some upcoming events and fundraisers in the summer. So I'm excited to see what they can do with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know that they have a really active young adult community too. I think that's what they call it,
Hmm.
or young adult connection,
Yeah.
where they do a lot of like virtual events and stuff. So, anybody that's interested in like seeing more of what they do, definitely check out their website because they have a lot of cool things to get engaged with. And I think I was going to ask you something else. It's really cool what you're doing with your like sister. What would you call that? Like,
Yeah, so sister queens is kind of the general term for that. Yeah, so what's unique about Miss American Co-ed is that it's the age divisions start very young.
yeah,
So you have a wide range of different age groups. So everyone kind of working with each other. And I think I'd like to think of myself kind of as a mentor for the younger girls.
yeah,
So being that person who can host events and kind of help them get to know each other a little better
yeah.
and give them a space where they feel comfortable talking about these issues. I just really love that I can be that person and be part of an organization where you have all these girls coming together.
Yeah, that's so cool. Because do you feel like it was kind of new to talk about mental health when you were like starting this journey, at least in like the pageantry world?
Yeah, and I think it's definitely something that I didn't even really talk about too much in high school when it comes to my own personal life. And actually, when I started the internship here with you guys for Turning Point, I had the opportunity to write my own story, which was shared on the website. One of the quotes are on the page right now. And that was something that I think was a big deal for me
Yeah,
because I never really talked about my own mental health. And so I kind of opened up about self love, body image, and kind of the struggles I had in high school. And I think that was something that was very helpful for me to kind of be more in tune with myself.
yeah.
And I hope that as a title holder and just as somebody who's passionate about it, that sharing my story more often can help other people feel more comfortable, and help to reduce the stigma as well.
Absolutely. I know personally too, when I
Mm-hmm.
first started the job, I had to write a story too. And it was like the first time I'd actually put my whole experience into words. And it was just so strange seeing it all like laid out and just the result of all the kind of things I've gone through and leading me up to where I am. It's very it's challenging to put it
Mm-hmm.
into words for sure, but it's so rewarding once you've shared it and put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does feel like in a passive way, it does feel like connection. It feels like I'm doing my part to kind of um, connect with people that might have a similar experience, that it might be their first time of being like, yeah, I feel heard for
Mm-hmm.
the first time. So that's super important because I know that that's so effective for me in like healing and just feeling a little bit more confident about my struggles,
Yeah.
my ability to kind of cope with them. Because once you have like a role model of somebody like, um, you know, establishing a path of
Mm-hmm.
recovery, it's a lot easier to kind of picture yourself doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. That's really cool. I'm glad that it was kind of like a I hate to use this, but a turning point moment.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's what it's all about. It's taking the opportunity to I don't know, like use your mental health to help others, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really empowering. Like because at least in like general society and like not the
Mm-hmm.
peer support world, you're usually like frowned upon for sharing like stuff that makes other people feel uncomfortable. Um,
Yeah.
but it's just it's cool to have it switched where it's now like an asset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I think back, like as a 15-year-old, I would definitely, I think I would be horrified to post anything relating to my mental health. And being able to do that this past fall then kind of felt empowering. And then, struggles during the pandemic, because for me personally, anxiety was very heightened,
Yeah.
and it made me kind of take into account like this is something I struggle with, and it's okay to reach out to talk to someone, or kind of admit that you're struggling with it.
Yeah.
So being able to speak about it and then start to relate to other people, especially with the different people who are involved in Turning Point, or even finding other people in my community who can, recognize that and have similar experiences, is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the conversation around mental health is changing even as we like speak here. Like
Hmm.
the stigma is getting broken, and I think it's opening up the opportunity for a lot of people to admit that they are struggling. And even putting that into words can be so healing, just
Hmm.
because, you're not stuffing like all of your problems and bottling it up. Like you're finally letting it out and giving yourself a chance to process and heal and move on from it, or at least learn ways to cope with it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think especially during COVID, it's just become so important to like have that connection and be able to like talk to somebody about it,
Hmm.
because you can get really caught up in your head. Like I know I can for sure, like spiraling, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's a lot easier. Like I know when I'm going through something tough, I'll just reach out to my friend that's usually like my mental health support.
Yeah.
And she'll just be like, yeah, I hear you. And I feel a lot less crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that we as an organization have like taken very seriously throughout COVID. And it's been really awesome to have the opportunity to connect with more people across the state. Because prior to COVID, we were hosting, in-person events, but we were limited to where we were in the state. So it was a
Hmm.
lot of like Norwalk and Fairfield County people that were able to attend. But now we have these virtual drop-ins and social events. So I'll quickly go through them. So we have the first Thursday of every month is a mental health social group. I wouldn't necessarily call it an advocacy group, but I think that would be definitely a component of what we strive to do is, connect with like-minded peers that are passionate about mental health, um, that have like an hour to give once a week or once a month, just to talk with other people, get support for what they're doing in their communities like you,
Hmm.
and help to affect more change. Because when we put all our minds together, I think that amazing things are possible. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, so that is the first Thursday at 5 p.m. And the second event is the second Tuesday of every month, and that is a teen social. And that's really supposed to be kind of like if you have, even if you don't have a diagnosis, even if you are not interested in mental health, this could be a great place for you to drop in and just meet other people that might be struggling, that might just be looking for connection. And, we'll introduce ourselves, just chat about life, very low key.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the third event is we just started a book club because we kind of blew up on
Ooh.
TikTok over the weekend.
Hmm.
And basically, the video I made was like a list of the book recommendations that I have. It was like The Body Keeps Score, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. That's a great one. Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving.
Hmm.
Amazing. And then The Four Agreements, which is something that my therapist told me to
Hmm.
read. And it can be a little wishy-washy, but if you're not like necessarily a religious person, you can kind of
Yeah.
replace those phrases with like something spiritual that you kind of can buy into. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, I posted that video and it blew up because obviously there's a lot of people that are out here in our community that are trying to heal.
Hmm.
And we got an overwhelming response for people that want to join in a book club. And have that opportunity to connect with other peers and kind of heal as a community. So that is going to be the third Thursday at 5 p.m. And then we also have a young adult social, which is going to be like the teen social, where you can drop in during the hour, say hi, get some socialization and connection. Personally, I've lost like all of my social skills throughout COVID. So it's just nice to be able to even talk to you, Serena, and just like feel a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that one happens the fourth Wednesday at 6 p.m. So we have a lot going on every week. So even if, you know, one thing doesn't like shout out to you, there's always going to be something the next week. So, you know, you can email me personally at my email. Everything's on the website if you want to find out more about it. But we also are going to release our second issue of the collection.
Nice.
Yes, which is something that you helped like create for the first time ever for Turning Point CT. So it's awesome to kind of see like your legacy continue.
Yeah.
And the theme of this issue is going to be growing through it, or growing through what you go through. And it's basically just a chance, because, you know, it's going to be released in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's the turn of the season, so we're moving into spring and summer, and it just offers us like an opportunity to take a step back and realize how much we have grown through this pandemic and whatever struggles we've personally faced in 2020. We did a little bit of reflecting on that in the previous issue, but I think now, with even more time away and perhaps a better mental state, because we're not in the midst of seasonal depression, just to give ourselves like a pat on the back for everything that we've been able to accomplish despite the challenges and adversity of this year. So there's a couple things that people can get involved in doing. We have a survey out there where it's like pretty short, but it's basically just collecting some real data from real people in Connecticut going through struggles right now. So we get a kind of better picture of what young people are experiencing in Connecticut. And the second thing that you could get involved with is just a personal response to the question, like, what have I learned? And I think there's an addition to that question where it's like, so it's what have I learned and what have you been able to gain through COVID? So it's kind of changing the mindset of like, what have I lost to what have I been able to gain? Like, I've been able to gain more time for myself. I've learned a lot more about what works for me in terms of like self-care. And these are all really positive things that I think we do need to acknowledge to bring with us when things might come back to normal, you know? So that's just a small response, so we can gather like maybe some quotes from people. And then the third thing you can get involved with is just a creative response. So whatever it may be that you do creatively, like doodling, taking pictures, collaging, like it could be really anything. And that's just around our central theme, growing through what you go through. So, you know, anything that you feel like you can creatively express through that theme is welcome. And we can definitely have you featured in the newsletter, which is an e-publication, so you can find it anywhere, download it, share it. So that's kind of like all of the list of updates that we have going on. It's definitely a lot, but it's all so valuable to stay connected and make sure that we're doing our part to support our peers, you know, because I know that so many people are struggling right now, and you know, it's Turning Point CT should really just be a platform for young people to connect and help one another. So I'm super excited to be a part of it. I'm so excited that, you know, you're here, at least along the sidelines with us at the moment, helping to cheer us on. So it's so awesome to hear what you're doing after the internship, and yeah, I'm so psyched.
Awesome. Yeah, I've loved following you guys, seeing how even the social media accounts I feel like have grown so much in the past few months, which is awesome. Interns are doing a great job and
Mhm.
really creative with everything. And I also really like the idea of putting a positive spin on everything, because I think we need to all pat ourselves on the back a little bit and say like how much we've been able to grow during this time.
Yeah. Like even though it's forced growth, like nobody in
Yeah.
had to go through this, but we've had to adjust to so much, and in really little ways too. So there's an abundance of things that I think all of us have, gained, and um, I think that it's nice to acknowledge it, and like you said, like give us a pat on the back, because
Mhm.
it's not been easy, and it's completely unprecedented. So
Mhm.
we had no guidance through all of this, and we've
Yeah.
individually all gotten through it. So that's really impressive.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I I don't know. What are you doing the rest of today?
Today and this week, I'm finishing up my honors thesis.
Awesome.
I'm doing it on pageants as a subculture, which
Awesome.
is really cool. So I'm just interviewing people, trying to get, the full picture of what a contestant goes through. And
Yeah.
I do bring in some things about mental health too. So it's great just getting that experience, having to interview people, communicate more. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to present that soon and get through finals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You definitely have a very full plate right now.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So you're finishing up finals next week.
Mhm.
Does that mean you have a break during the summer?
I do. So my job I'm working at as well ends on June 14th.
Okay.
And next week I'm starting up my summer job as well, which is actually a lot of fun. It's at Rich Farms in Bristol. I was doing it last summer too. It's the ice cream shop. They're really good.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
you check that out if you're in the area. Go see
yeah.
Serena.
Good ice cream. I love the people there. So, it'll be a fun summer, saving up money for grad school too.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. To decompress, honestly, from the
Yeah.
busy year you've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have competing in July
Mhm.
for the next set of regional pageants.
Yeah.
So that's when the end of my 2020 year with Miss Southern New England will end.
Okay.
And then I'll see what happens when I go to the next regional one in July. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. We'll have to stay tuned to give
Yeah.
you a bunch of support and cheer you on. That's so cool. I'm just like so impressed with you and all the other young people I've worked with, just because we're all doing so much
Mhm.
just to try and help others. And I love being able to spotlight and highlight what we're all doing, the work that we're all individually doing and collaborating on and stuff. So thank you so much
Mhm.
for being here and spending the time talking to me and catching me up on all the things you're doing.
Yep. And thank you for letting me catch up with you. I
Mhm.
think it's great when we come together to share things. It has a much bigger impact on everyone. So I think this is great.
Yeah, thank you so
Mhm.
much, Trina.
Thank you.
Yeah.